video podcasters and aspiring video podcasters. Cheryl Plouffe here, video strategist and repurposing expert. And today I want to share with you how you can 2 to 3x the views on your video podcast organically, meaning that without spending thousands of dollars on advertising. So let's spend some time to really break this down. I'll speak from my own experience in terms of how this has worked out for us as we create our video podcast called Cash In on Camera. And we've learned some amazing lessons and also have some great tools at our disposal to make all of this happen. So let's start with why. Why would you start or want to continue to do a video podcast versus having a audio podcasts? There's nothing wrong with audio podcasts. They're amazing. I'm a huge fan of audio podcasts and I listen to them all the time. But from my perspective as a video strategist, I love the idea of repurposing from video to audio versus audio to video. And here's why. Because when you start with a video format, you have more options. And the end result is something I think that's more dynamic. So if you are doing a video podcast and you're repurposing to audio, the end result is that you have now video content that's far more dynamic, as is the example on screen here with Nicole and I. We have a discussion. You can see both of us. We're using our hands. We're expressing ourselves. We can be showing things on the screen. It's much more of a dynamic output. Versus if you start with audio and go to video, you're limited. You can have an audiogram, you can have the waveform, wavelengths, that kind of a thing, or just a static image, but it's static and you're kind of limited with what you can do with that. So for that reason, I love the idea of going from a video to audio. Now, how we produce our show is that we've chosen to do it live. So we do a live stream video broadcast, and then we repurpose that to the audio format. And the reason why we've chosen to do that is because it circumvents a lot of complicated post-production. So if you have created a video podcast of your own, you may have done it this way, where you organize to have maybe a guest, maybe it's a talk show format like ours is. You arrange with your guest, you likely have a Zoom account, and you'll coordinate to meet on a Zoom meeting. Then you're going to either have to record that interview to the cloud, which you'll have to likely pay for more storage, more cloud storage to Zoom to do that, or you might have to save it to your computer, which again, you'll have to have the room to do that, especially if you're doing formatted, interview-based or talk show format. These tend to be longer type conversations. So it has to be stored somewhere. So this is more the typical thing that people do. They'll create a Zoom account, they'll record it in Zoom. Now you have the interview, which is great, but what do you do with it from there? Now you have to download it. You've got to upload it to a video editing software. Then you have to know how to use that editing software. You edit your video interview, you cut it out, you spend potentially an hour doing that, maybe longer if it's new to you. And then you are going to export and then upload that to all the different platforms of your choice. So what we've chosen to do is to use the platform that I'm using right now, which is Restream. So Restream is a multi-streaming tool that allows you to go live to up to 30 platforms at the same time. And that's amazing because you just set that up and use Restream to live stream your interview to those platforms in real time. Now, we do use a few other tools in conjunction with Restream, but the essence of where it starts from, the nucleus is the live stream. And we do that with this platform and we'll go out live. It goes out to all those platforms. As soon as I hit end stream and finish the interview, boop, 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 it goes to all of those platforms at the same time. So now you're not spending all of that time in post-production. What we choose to do is we produce the video part, and then we have some other processes that we put through to get the audio and then put it on an audio platform, a podcasting platform. So that's how we choose to produce our show. And it's a much, much more efficient way of doing it if you have the tools, right? So it's really about having the tools at your disposal and knowing how to use them in conjunction with one another to produce it the way that we do. Now, why, and I said at the beginning of this video, we're talking about how to do this. How do you get more views on your video podcast organically? I'm not against advertising, but I think that advertising is for a certain level of your business, at a certain stage of your business, when you have a product or service that is selling predictably and that you know your numbers inside and out and that it's a very predictable conversion. Now you can really start to scale. What I think a lot of people do is they scale too soon. They want the passive income. And so they go for, the advertising right from the get-go before they have their messaging clear, have really spoken to their ideal audience and heard their feedback. And so I think there's a lot of validity to doing organic content and looking at an organic content strategy before you get to running ads. The other advantage of doing this organically versus just like running some ads is that you're able to take advantage and leverage the attention of billions of people who are on, guess what, their smartphones and their mobile devices. So an organic content strategy leverages the attention of people on the devices that they're using. This is what they're opening up. I can't remember the statistic right now, but like 98 times a day. So you have to ask yourself as a business owner, am I being found on this little device? Right? And so organic, in my opinion, is the place that most business owners should be really focusing in on, potentially for a year, 2 years before they're ready to start scaling a product or service using advertising. And the nice thing is, when you have an organic content strategy like a video podcast that you're doing on a consistent basis for an audience and to grow an audience, is that now you have a bank of content that's out there for people to find you. And that's one of the beautiful things about it. So as far as how we get more views on our video podcast, what we like to do is we give our guests, and again, ours is an interview-based talk show format where I bring guests in to speak on specific topics around, business, marketing, social media, automation, technology. And I'm bringing those guests in. When I bring those guests to be on the show, we give them an option. I'll show you the email that we send out. We have an email template. I'll show it to you on the screen here. And what we do is we offer our guests the option of being able to broadcast the live interview that we're doing with them to their audience in real time. So hear me out. What this is a feature in Restream called Restream Pairs. And this allows the guest to set it up so that when I start the broadcast, they can it's not really a sharing. It's they are broadcasting that same live stream to their audiences of choice at the same time, simultaneously. So this is huge, because what this does, and you can see here at point number 4, that's the sentence or the paragraph where we give the guest the option to do this. And we've had guests who have said, absolutely, I'm going to do that. There's no cost to them. There's no cost to the guest to take advantage of Restream Pairs. I, as the broadcaster, have to have a certain level of account in order for me to do it this way, to give my guests that option. But the guests themselves, it doesn't cost them anything. They can start a free Restream account, go in and set up to 30 platforms of their choice for this interview that we're going to do together to go on their platforms. This is mind-blowing. And this is really the key to how we are getting 2 to 3 and possibly even more, depending on the size of their audiences, getting more views organically on our video podcast. So it's a win-win, because the advantage to the guest is that they now can stream content to their platforms in real time. So now they have content that didn't cost them anything to do. They're doing the interview anyway. It's also a win-win for us, because now we can get ourselves in front of their audiences. So it's a win-win. And I think this is a game changer, in my opinion. So I love this idea of having a platform where you can broadcast and then give your guests the option to do it as well. So if that's of interest to you, you certainly want to be looking at Restream. You can actually join Restream for free, and you can go to restream.io/join/CIOC and start your own free Restream account. Whether you are a video podcaster yourself or want to start utilizing the method that we're using with Cash In on Camera to produce your show, you can start your account and do that. Certainly reach out to me. I have a Facebook group called Cash In on Camera. You can find it on Facebook. Join the group and then send me a message. Say, hey, Cheryl, I've just joined up right for Restream. Like I'm in Restream now. I've got an account. I'd love some more guidance on how you're producing your show, and we can have a discussion about that. Or if you are someone who aspires to be on our show and want to get a leg up on having the ability to use the Restream Pairs feature, then start your free account now, because we're going to give you that option anyway when we email you if you join our show. So on that note, let's just check in on the chat, see if there are any questions, and then we can certainly, so I hear Keith says he loves it. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Keith. I think it's a game changer in my opinion. Yes, I am recording for rebroadcast. Yes. So that's great. I appreciate your time today. I hope this has really been an eye-opening discussion around video podcasts. If you'd like some more information or insights on how we're producing our show, reach out to me, Cheryl, at Cheryl Plouffe on all social media platforms. You can send me a DM on Instagram or send me a message on Facebook, and I'd be happy to even jump on a quick call and explain how we're doing this. But really, at the end of the day, how do we 2 and 3x the views on our video podcast organically? We're leveraging the audiences of the people we bring on the show, and you can too. So I hope that's helpful. I hope to hear from you and see you inside of the Facebook group, Cash In on Camera. And certainly do think about joining Restream. I think it's an amazing platform that has so much potential for us content creators, and I wish you a great day ahead.